The lesson.
Oh, yeah.
Maundz, back in ADL.
Yes.
First time in what, have we said 3 years?
3 years, man.
2016.
It's been a minute.
You did the gig at Northern Sound System.
Yeah.
Northside Adelaide.
Northside Adelaide.
Always repping the north.
It. Always, man.
Now,
Shouts to the kids in Elizabeth, man.
You recently dropped a new album.
Yes.
True North.
Yes.
And so the last album, was it Mr. Was that the last one, Mr. Nobody?
Nah, that was the first one, man.
Okay, but
Nobody's business.
That's
Yeah,
why I get
can
it
see
mixed
how
up.
people-
Yeah. It's got the same word in the
You're
title.
playing
That's what
mind
did
games
it.
with you guys, man. That's it.
And so, yeah, so that was what, 2016 that dropped.
2015, man. It's
2015.
been a minute. A hot
Yeah,
minute.
so what's that, 4 years
Yeah, man.
in between drinks?
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, if you're knocking out an album every second year, that's pretty good. Now, in regards to this album, I mean, what made you, first of all, pick the pen back up and get back into it, get back into the studio?
Honestly, man, I've never stopped, with the pen game. I've always keep that running, but life got in the way, man. I flew up to Sydney. I was living there for 3 months. I started writing the album, just living out in Newtown, and I probably knocked out about half of it or something, and then just life got in the way, man. I just had some serious life hurdles to overcome, so kind of fucked me up a bit, man. Like, put me way behind the 8 ball, considering I was wanting to have it out by 2017. So 2017, 2018, man. So yeah, it really messed me up a bit. So look, like I said, man, I never stopped writing, never stopped making music, always in the studio. But the thing that kind of stuffed me up was putting this album out, man. 4 years is a long time in the music industry, man. Like, if you're gone for 5 years, if you're Swayze, man, nobody...
Yeah, especially nowadays.
Yeah,
with
that's
the
it, man.
internet, it's just sped everything up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I had to... it was like I was starting all over again, man. But, like I said, never stopped. Always do this shit, man. Always.
The new album's dropped.
Yes.
From what I can see and gather, it's been received pretty well. The standout joints for me, I guess the first one was the one that you did with Mitchos, Patchwork. And we actually spoke to Mitchos. So like, that was actually, like, he wrote that a while ago from what he said, and then it's come on the release. What made, I mean, you reached out to him, I think he said.
Yeah, man.
So because he's a bit more of a newer generation artist, what made you, reach out to Mitchos and be like, yo, let's get on this joint? Like, did you guys have a relationship before that?
Never, man. I've been listening, catching him do his little thing on social media and whatnot, and I'm like, man, this guy's a beast. And look, my eyes are always on the radar when it comes to music, especially hip hop in this country, man. And like, there's a lot of good talent out there that I fuck with, man. And it's really exciting. So, I got at him, we started building, and then before he knew it, dude monstered it.
Yeah, man.
I re-recorded that verse for that track 3 times, man.
Well, because when you heard his shit, you were like, shit, I had to re-record that.
I don't like being outshone, man. Dude got me shook. Yeah, thanks, Mitchos.
That's funny as. And then the one that you recently dropped a video for, Elemenohpee.
Yeah.
Now tell us about that, because when I first heard that, the first thing that came to mind was, how long did it take to write that shit? So, I mean, how long did it take you to write that, and what made you, those sorts of songs, not many people are making stuff like that now. So I guess, how long did it take you to do it, and what inspired you to write that particular joint?
2.5 long, wintry Melbourne months. That shit took me, man. Don't try that at home, kids. For real. 2.5 months on and off. I get disheartened writing it. I come home every fucking night to a dictionary, man. Like, it's like that. And it was drilling me. And, you get all the way. I promised myself, man, I'm going A to Z, try and knock out 24, and I wrote it to a Dilla beat, and I'd get there, I'd get all the way to like Y, the letter Y or U or something, and if these syllables didn't add up, man, I'd have to go all the way back to the start or halfway through and try and rework it. And I'd have numbers on my pen, on my paper or whatever, and I was counting syllables. And if I was one syllable out, man, game over. I had to go again. But then, I crossed that road. I got A to Z. I'm like, nah, come on, man. Let's go Z to A. So, I literally fucking punched walls, punch holes in the wall at my last house, man. I don't think, people that I was living with appreciated that, but that's what you do for music, man.
And then, so if you had to explain to someone who hasn't heard the song yet what the concept of the song is, how would you explain that?
So basically, it's, it's funny, man. As soon as I was explaining this to mates, they're like, oh, yeah, so you're doing some like alphabet aerobics, papoose type thing, man. And I'm like, no. And then I try to explain it, they wouldn't get it. So I'm rhyming like the alphabet letters consecutively, like ain't been chillin', doing everything formally, and like going A to Z, but I had to start on A and I had to finish on Z. And then second verse, I had to start on Z, end on A. So it was just, it was tedious, man, but it had to be done. I wanted to prove something to myself that I had that in me. And like I said to you before, man, like I never wanted people to see this as a gimmick. This was more of a show and prove sort of thing, man, I'm still about the culture and the skill side of things. So yeah. And
then, so how, you talk about rewriting it, like, if you got to a few last letters and if it didn't work out, you had to go back. And
yeah, man.
How many times do you reckon you had to go back?
Lost count, man.
Fuck.
I don't want to think about it. Terrible memories, man.
So then, if you look at the album, I mean, the title True North. Now I know you're from the north side of Melbourne.
Yep.
And from when I've been there, like the river splits the north or the south side or something like that.
Man, yeah.
People from up north don't really venture much down south, and
I'm sure people do, man. But I don't really venture to the south side that much or southeast. It's my whole family's from the west side. Like my whole family's like Sunshine West, Deer Park, St. Albans way, man. But my parents are the only ones that sort of ventured to the north, and we've all been concentrated around that area. So I've got everything I need around me, man. All the boys are from there. Went to school around there. Still kick it around there. So
is that the reason for the title? Just because that's where you're from, and that's
it is what it is, man. Yeah. Like, I've lived in Preston and Coburg my whole life, so I got to fly that flag because I just felt like when I was coming up as a young'un with my first album, there wasn't many people from the north side. Everyone was from the southeast doing their thing, man. So this is why I called. Another reason I called my first album Mr. Nobody, because I felt like I was a bit of an outcast because I was the only dude from the fucking north side, man. So, yeah. But now you got young'uns coming up, man, and they hold it down, so it's sick.
And then, so I think the album's got like 14 cuts on it.
Yep.
Do you have a favourite song off the album or one that stands out to you?
Maybe Rick and Tito with Trials. Trials, dude's a sure shot every time.
Yeah, man, he's one of the country's best, bro.
Hands down. Like,
actually.
For real, man. Like, I know he doesn't even spit a verse on there, man, but just that dude's aura just makes a track bang. And I was in stitches the first time, Man, there is so much more intro and outro that didn't make the album on that, where the dude's just wild and out, just talking a whole gang of shit that had me in stitches, but it didn't make the cut. So yeah.
And then I guess in terms of touring the album, probably can't say too much at the moment, but that's something that's on the cards for you.
Absolutely, man. We've got something very special on the way.
But you can't say anything.
Nah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
The lesson. Oh yeah.